Now on to our big question of the day. What tips would you give someone considering their first bikepacking trip?
Don't do it.
We already know you don't like bikepacking. No, you think it's overrated.
Yeah, I do
enjoy
like it. I do like it. It's good. It's good.
I've done a lot of bikepacking / touring.
Whatever you want to call it.
Slept in a few bushes. That's not really my thing.
Rubbish.
Cycled across America, cycled across Vietnam, cycled across Australia, did the whole west coast of the USA. Spain, through the mountains in Spain. It's all been fantastic. I really enjoy it.
Like Austria as well, or something like that. Switzerland.
Oh, we rode to Switzerland. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was good.
Like
that was where we went to see Sungod. It was very fun. We got the ferry from here.
Straight there and zero bikepack. That was the bikepacking.
There isn't a ferry that goes all the way to Switzerland, sadly. In which case we would have. They had a disco on the ferry. It was wicked.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we wanted to go through a few things on today's podcast about, well, a few tips if you are considering your first trip.
Mm-hmm.
First one, location choice. I don't think people need to go. You see all these things. I've just listed off some really big, exciting rides. Your first trip doesn't need to be that.
Or any of them, really.
Any of them need to be. No, exactly.
The things that you've done are, in basically every scenario, really significant events that I think are almost too extreme for just like normal people to like aspire towards. Like, it's cool if you end up doing it, but you don't even need to think about like that's the goal, to like ride across a country.
No. They were long. They were expensive. You'd have to take time off work if you weren't working while doing them, which I was, because I was making videos. So I would suggest a short local bikepacking trip to just test out your stuff.
Yeah.
As a first one. Like if you're in Newcastle, you'd go ride to
Scotland.
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
Like, well,
the borders.
We rode to the borders.
Yeah.
And if you do it over like 2 or 3 days, then you can do like we probably rode too much, because day one was like 9 hours.
You're on mountain bikes as well.
Well, you were on a mountain bike, I was on a gravel bike.
Yeah.
And we did it all on road.
I feel like we had originally planned to do some off-road stuff.
Well, it was going to be all off-road.
There's a little bit.
And then I think we ran out of time, so we were like, well, we'll skip, we'll do some road sections.
Before you know, it was only road.
Yeah.
The whole way.
Because it was brutal. But yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, doing something simple from your local area, or even, it doesn't have to be from your front door, but like, you could drive to the countryside and then do a 2-day trip or a 3-day trip from there is a sensible idea.
Yeah. So it's essentially putting bags on your bikes and riding somewhere. Everything you have with you is on your bike or your person, and that creates an exciting vibe, I think. Your bike's going to feel a bit different, so it's important to test it before. It will feel heavier. However, it doesn't slow you down that much in the grand scheme of things. If you think about like hours, yes, when you're riding up a climb, you'll be like, oh, this is a bit of a slog. I'm going slower than usual.
Yeah.
But in elapsed time over the course of 6-7 hours of riding in the day, yeah, you might be 20 minutes slower, half an hour slower. So I wouldn't worry too much about having a really heavy bike, because I think that gets, it worries people.
So as part of equipment, you were saying you load up your bike, it'll feel in a particular way. I think the most underrated thing in all of cycling, and especially when bikepacking, is gear ratios. Like, your bike is going to be heavier, and the place that you're going to notice that is going up climbs.
Yeah.
So just have more gear range so that you can just spin your way up it. It's going to take longer. It's going to be harder. Don't grind up and destroy your legs just on that. But the ultimate point is, your bike is going to be heavier, but it's not that big a deal. It's all right.
I guess this is most relevant for people who a lot of people watch the channel, they have racing bikes. Racing bikes tend to have big gears on.
Yeah.
As soon as you add some bags to that and your bike, it weighs 20 kilos or more.
I bike packed in Wales with a racing bike that had rim brakes and carbon rims. And it was when we were filming, so I had a Tailfin that was like 20 kilos on its own. And it was honestly the most horrible thing I've ever experienced. I remember descending and thinking like, yeah, this is game over.
Carbon rims.
Carbon rims.
It does make a difference, doesn't it? And I'm guessing it was raining because it was Wales.
It was actually, yeah, of course. Yeah. I definitely walked up some sections of that as well.
Mm-hmm. No shame in that.
Well, yeah, I know. I didn't have an option.
I've seen some of the climbs.
So, yeah, weight is, you don't notice the weight as much as you think you would, but just get loads of gears. Just get tons and tons and tons of them. You're never going to need to be thinking about going fast downhill because your bike's going to be a bit heavier. You're going to fly down a hill anyway.
Mm-hmm. You fly down a hill until you don't, because you're big and the bags are big. So if you have a tiny headwind and you're going quite fast, suddenly you just go, oh, I can't go any faster. Whereas a normal bike with nothing on it, you notice it goes.
But then if you're bikepacking, you're not thinking about
you don't care
speed anyway.
Who cares?
Yeah.
No, true. So back onto the bags and key pieces of equipment that I always take with me. I would suggest food pouch, which are they look like the little bags of chalk that climbers have, and you can strap those on the front of your handlebars, and it's just like a drawstring on a small pouch. So you can put things in. I put my phone in there or food. You can even put loose food in if you wanted one of them to just be like trail mix or whatever. And it's right in front of you as you're riding.
Yep.
So you don't have to unzip something. It's just there and you ride along and you can just eat from it. And I think eating little and often, so it works wonders on a trip like that, because when you're in a new place, you're thinking about navigating, you're looking at the cool stuff, you're meeting people, and having convenient food to eat quickly and easily.
Yeah,
make a big difference.
I guess an alternative to that for someone that perhaps already has this piece of equipment is you could use a top tube bag if that's your preference.
Top tube bag, yeah. I guess
it's just the idea of something
easily accessible
right there. You leave your top tube bag zipped open and you can just get in and out of it.
Yeah, a couple of times I've gone on trips. I think the one I did with you, I didn't take a food pouch with me.
Yeah,
thinking, oh, I'll be fine. It's only a short days.
I'm only riding with Jimmy. I'll be fine.
And it was annoying.
Yeah.
And I wish I'd had one of those. So always take one of those. Ski straps. This is another thing. They're recycling specific ones called voile straps. VOILE.
They're very good.
They're very good. You can buy straps that are made for skis. The ones I have are black diamond ski straps. And essentially these are stretchy little ratcheted straps, just like a belt. And you can stretch these over your pack, strap things to the outside of your bike. You can strap a tire, which is the next thing on the list. Always take a spare tire with you. You put that on the outside of your bike. It's waterproof. Nothing's going to go wrong with it. There's almost no reason other than a tiny bit of weight to carry a spare tire with you. And if you had a blowout, you hit Vietnam day one, I hit like a razor blade on the floor, on the ground. And my tubeless exploded everywhere. And that was a trip I didn't have a spare tire with me. Finding a tire that fitted a gravel bike in Vietnam was a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up riding a Continental Ultra Sport the whole way across for 20 more days. And if I just had a spare tire with me, I learned my lesson. Always take a spare tire.
Is that the only occasion you've needed a spare tire?
No.
Oh, you did
multiple times across the USA. Yeah. But if you think about your bikes, my USA setup, bike was 30 kilos, trailer was 20 with the wheelchair in. That's 50 kilos of stuff. Adding a tire, which weighs 500 grams, 600 grams, is not going to make a difference. But it will make a difference to your sustainability and peace of mind.
I'm going to remind you of this next time you say that 100 grams is a good saving on a new frame weight.
2 different types of riding, sorry.
Non-cycling footwear. I'm a big believer of this.
I always take trainers now. I did that thing. Chris used to come on bikepacking trips. He does a lot of bikepacking, our friend Chris. And he always used to have those little rock pool shoes that they like roll up, and they're very thin. But every time he walked anywhere, he looked very uncomfortable.
Oh, what?
And just take a pair of trainers.
Well, I think that comes down to preference. Like, I've got some of those little dappy things. I think they're wicked. Like when we went to Scotland, I was walking around in like the bushes.
You have sliders?
No, I use those little
rock pool shoes.
Yeah. I think they're great.
Yeah.
I personally don't like sliders.
If I was racing an ultra, and really you wanted to go fast, a shoe that rolls up like that, I can see the benefit.
Well, if you're racing an ultra, you probably wouldn't bother. You wouldn't need shoes.
No, you'll just go in normal shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like for bike packing, it's one of those like creature comforts, isn't it? Where you get back to the hotel or you set up your tent, whatever it is, and you inevitably have to go and get food from somewhere, or even just walking around for the next 5 or 6 hours. It's nice to do it in something that feels a bit more like normal. I also think that taking some normal clothes that are suitable to sleep in as well are like a big preference. So I'll always take like a pair of like my short running shorts. They're like my go-to.
So short.
They are so short. They are. They're nearly Y fronts. But the point is, they are comfortable. You can put them on instead of kit and a t-shirt or whatever, and you just feel normal for what is essentially like quite a few hours when you're not in cycling kit or sleeping.
Yeah.
I think those things are really...
No, sometimes
and you know, it doesn't weigh much. A tiny pair of shorts, tiny t-shirt, a couple 100 grams, whatever.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's true. You're either packing... Are you packing for a trip where you'll spend time on the bike or spend time off the bike? And that people need to think and decide. And it's a scale, of course. But...
I kind of feel like in most cases, unless it's like a full-on like ultra event, you're always going to have a number of hours off the bike. So don't forget that.
You feel like a normal human. Like take you with your toothbrush.
Oh yeah.
You feel good afterwards. I remember Matt Falconer, who came podium the TCR Transcontinental race, and he was looking for like which toothbrush would chop down the best in the shop. Just have a tiny little toothbrush, but it makes you feel normal, makes you feel happy. I always take a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah,
I like that. Play some music when you're in a quiet area. You play some music, and you don't have to have headphones in. You can hear what's going around you.
Annoyingly, every time we've been away on some kind of trip, we've always forgotten to take a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, like, I wish I had a Bluetooth speaker.
But we then decide to take it upon ourselves to sing.
Yeah,
and we
just
sing.
Not everyone is as talented as us, though, Jimmy.
It's true. That's true.
Camping versus hotels. You got to take a lot more stuff with you if you're camping.
Yeah,
I would say if this is your first time doing a trip, don't camp, or go to a campsite that has some provisions. Facilities.
So, if you are a person that already enjoys camping, has experience in camping, went to campsites as a kid, that kind of thing, is completely normal and comfortable to you, you are going to be fine bike packing in that style. If you've never done it, anything like that, you're quite an indoorsy person, you've been on like fancy holidays your whole life, it's an acquired taste.
And the last thing you want to do is ride 7 hours and then put a tent up and not know how to do it.
The best way it's been described to me by various ultra people and you is the best way to sleep in a tent is after 3 or 4 days, you are so knackered that you can sleep anywhere, and therefore it's enjoyable.
That'll be a timer on the bike trip.
Yeah. Yes.
So the ultra guys, the real serious ultra guys, they do the one-man tent.
Yeah.
And it's a super lightweight tent, and that's the most comfortable way to do it. Small, so instead of a bivvy, they do like comfy sleeping bag, but a super lightweight one that's really expensive, and then one-man tent.
I think but then a lot of them will just
won't at all.
Yeah, they'll just sleep on it.
Well, the ultra, okay, yeah, if they're doing that TCR and stuff, hotels the whole way.
Oh, that's a different.
So is it a bikepacking race? It's not for those guys.
A
lot of pre-book their hotels. I heard.
I like camping sometimes. I've done a bit of it. I hate bikepacking with a tent.
Yeah. It takes up a lot of space as well. What are the you get sleeping mat, bivvy,
inflatable
and sleeping bag.
Yeah.
That's whole tailfin gone, or a whole pannier gone.
Yeah.
Just from that.
But then you don't have much more stuff if you go lean, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other option then.
Yeah, most people don't take laptop, cameras, 6
chargers,
GoPros and chargers. Yeah.
When you take that out, it's actually
drone.
Not that bad.
I carried a drone. A Mavic, not even a small drone, not like your one. A Mavic Pro, Mavic Pro 3. Like it's this big for the viewers watching the video version of this podcast.
It's about a kilo, isn't it?
No, it's more than that. More than a kilo. I carried it, and the controller's another thing, and the charger. It's big.
Yeah.
And I used it once in Miami, cycling from Miami to LA. It just stayed in my bag.
There we go.
And now it's broken.
So the other option is your preference, which is hotels, B&Bs, hotels, that kind of thing.
One of the most asked questions I get is bikes in hotel rooms.
Yeah.
How do you get your bike in a hotel room? I have 2 methods. You ask the hotel
Beforehand.
Yeah. And just tell them you're coming. And I would use that tactic in Spain, mainland Europe, because in my experience there is they get a bit funny about bikes in hotels. America, don't even bother asking. Just go in.
They just don't care.
They don't care.
Right.
Nobody there cares at all. I've never been challenged whatsoever. Sometimes I'll forget to ask the hotel, and even if I am in Europe somewhere, I'll just try and do it anyway and just try and sneak it in.
The worst case is because we had this in Barcelona.
They always give you another option, luggage room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just whether you're comfortable leaving your bike in a luggage room. We didn't end up having to do it in Barcelona because we talked them around. We did do it in London, but I think we were at a level of fatigue where if the bikes got stolen, we didn't even care.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Usually they're very helpful, aren't they? They're very helpful.
I think the hotel one, I guess, is.
I think people are too scared. The question I just get asked so many times. I think it's just people are a bit too nervous to ask because it's weird, isn't it? Like, got a bike in a hotel room, but there's always that you're paying for a hotel. They're there to help.
I would always just assume you could do it as long as your bike's not like a manual bike.
Yeah. Of course.
You keep your bike clean.
Of course.
What I don't like about hotels is you have to check in, you have to check out. You end up spending an hour a day faffing about with like hotel admin. Mm-hmm. And I know that's just the same as like setting up a bivvy or a tent or whatever. Obviously you get the luxury of a bed and a shower.
We had this in thing. 2 bikes, 1 wheelchair. The amount of times we booked, 48 times we booked an accessible room. 80% of the time we got to the hotel and then they didn't put us in an accessible room.
So for those that don't know, the accessible room is because Francis rode across America with Justin, who is a wheelchair user.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally there at reception, sat in a wheelchair, and they still put us in the normal room. And then you have to go down, we would then put my bike, a hand bike, him with a flag, me with all of the trailer and all of the stuff into a lift up to the room, get there, we go in, it's not the right room. Why? I should have filmed that more. I should have put that in the videos more, in hindsight, just to show that, like, because why is it such a problem?
Can I give you some feedback?
Yeah.
Maybe leave all of that stuff in reception and go and check the room first.
That's what we ended up, you know the level of fatigue that we were in London? Yeah, imagine that times 10.
Yeah, no thanks.
Exactly.
The hotel thing that I don't like is there's something unpleasant for me. I know you're very comfortable with it. There's something unpleasant to me about every day being in a different room that's a bit different. You have to work out where the lights, you know, like there's all these weird little things that are just like annoy me. Whereas if you are camping and you're comfortable with camping, it's always the same thing. You've got your equipment, you know how your equipment works, you know where it is, you pull it out, you set it up, it just happens to be under a different tree. There is something about hotels I don't like, and of course you're less connected to like
nature,
yeah, which arguably is also a good thing.
Less flies.
The last thing is what to do when things don't go to plan. What do you do?
They often don't go to plan. Things go wrong. I would say preempt things going wrong. Don't book your hotels until 2 nights before, 1 night before.
Same day.
I do same day.
Yeah. Booking.com is really good for that.
Exactly, because you can cancel. Not sponsored by Booking.com. However,
sadly,
yeah, we'd love to be. Booking.com is really good. And you can stick to one. There's Booking.com or Hotels.com. It's the red one.
Yeah.
Both of them. If you book a bunch of hotels, you can do it by the calendar and you can see what's coming up and you can adjust things and move things around really easily.
I found
stick to one instead of hopping around between them, because then you lose what's going on in this.
Yeah, when we did Spain, what I particularly liked about it is you always just like, you basically get to where you need to be for the night you booked it probably in the morning, or in most of the cases we booked it when we stopped for lunch.
Yeah.
Like literally like a couple of hours before, and then like you get there and you're kind of like, I can't even remember what this place is. You just open the app and it's like, right, there it is. We get there, bosh, there it is. Let's ride to it. I thought that was wicked.
Yeah. It's just the pre-preparation with everything, and including your bike and equipment, just to remember you're going to be tired. Even if you're doing short rides.
Yeah.
What do we do? 70k some days?
Yeah.
But it was lumpy.
To 100 and...
Yeah, it was lumpy. You hadn't been riding loads before. And I'd been riding quite a bit, but it still tires you out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of thinking, we make filming videos, and you're meeting people, and you're ordering stuff in a different language, and you're like all those little tiny things which are not a big fuss at all, especially if you're on holiday. Mm-hmm. Suddenly it becomes like, oh yeah, I need to order another sandwich. What's the word for sandwich again? And do all that. It adds up.
What is the word for sandwich?
Well, bocadillo.
Oh, there we go.
It's that's French. It's French. It's just Spanish. It's the Spanish thing.
Oh yeah. So I guess stuff doesn't go to plan. Be cool with that. It's not going to be perfect. You will end up at a different place. Stuff will break. Things will happen.
Stuff breaks.
Just
it happens.
go with it.